Okay, we're going live today. By the way, my name's Jerry Pallotta. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Today we have a special guest, illustrator Rob Bolster. I suppose I should say artist Rob Bolster, because not only does he do wonderful children's books, he is a painter, a wonderful painter. Maybe he'll show you some of his paintings later. But kids out there in schools, we're sorry you're not in schools. Teachers, we're sorry we're not in schools. Rob and I wish we were in schools and you were in schools, but we all have this quarantine going on. So we thought we would introduce you to Rob Bolster, the illustrator of the Who Would Win series. And in case you're wondering, I have them all right here. So see down the bottom there, it says by Jerry Pallotta, that's me, illustrated by Rob Bolster. There he is right there, Rob Bolster, the great illustrator. There's a dinosaur book. I could go on and on, but I'm not going to do it. There's Falcon versus Hawk. There's Hyena versus Honey Badger. There's Ultimate Jungle Rumble. So you kids know these books. They're all in your schools. And thanks for checking in on us. So Rob, where are you sitting like right now? What city are you in?
I'm in Walpole, Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
Did you say city?
Yeah, you're in Walpole, Massachusetts. Good. I'm in South Boston, Massachusetts. A lot of authors and illustrators never meet each other. You know, like someone writes the book, someone illustrates the book. They never meet each other. It's not true with me and Rob. We work together as a team. Sometimes we see each other a lot. Sometimes we don't see each other that much. By the way, for all you teachers out there, in case you're wondering, Rob illustrated Going Lobstering for me. And if I'm ruining something for you, Rob, you let me know.
That was
Rob
the
illustrated. That's the first book he ever did for me. That was like 30-something years ago. Rob painted the airplane outfit book. Hey, when people say to me, what's the best book you have? You know what I say to them? I can't do better than the airplane. Hey, there's the original cover right there. Later on, we changed the cover. How do you like that, you kids? This is a pretty good lesson. Which cover do you like the best? So after the airplane book, Rob did the jet book for me. There's the jet book. He did a beautiful job. Along the way somewhere, he did the construction alphabet book. And he did these as giant oil paintings. That's really cool. There's one right there. How do you like that? Let me see if I can find that page. What a painting. Whoa. Let's see. Do I have? Oh, there's the cover. Yeah. How do you like that, kids? There's the cover of the construction alphabet book. And this is a great selling book. And I was just notified Nebraska is joining us live. Question is, how long have you two worked together? We've worked together for 34 years, I think. 33 years, 34 years. Someone said I was difficult to get along with, but I thought, Rob Bolster still talks to me. I can't be that difficult to get along with, right?
We started in 1988, I think.
Yeah, 1988. People say, how do we meet each other? Our wives used to work together at TWA Airlines. So my wife, Linda, sat right next to Liz, his wife. And one day my wife said, oh, my husband wrote a children's book. And Liz said, oh, my husband's an illustrator. So Rob, where did you go to school?
I went to school at Rhode Island.
Did you go to a, where did you go? Didn't you go to a special arts school? Tell everyone where you went to school.
Rhode Island School of Design, right down the road from Walpole, Massachusetts.
Tell us who some of your teachers were, because they're really famous, aren't they?
Yeah, I had some of the same teachers that Ralph Masiello had. Chris Van Allsburg was one of the teachers that actually taught you how to use paper and pencil, whereas most of the rest of it is the teaching is just how to think. I think art schools need to teach kids or students how to apply paints, and that's not part of their deal down at Rhode Island School of Design, or most art schools, to tell you the truth. And David Mccauley was also one of.
Before I forget, you kids, Jumanji was painted by Chris Van
drama.
Allsburg, your teacher, right?
Right. At the time I was a sophomore, he had senior students working on filling in gray areas because he was so behind. And at least that's what I recall. And so covering an inch of one of his drawings would take at least an hour to 2 hours.
Wow. Now, did you work on those books when you were a senior?
No, I didn't. but I basically learned how to draw because he taught us how to draw with pencils and paper. Um,
Well, you must
so,
have been a great teacher because you're like the greatest illustrator I've ever seen. So
well,
then, how about David Mccauley? Tell us about him.
well, David Mccauley was sort of he basically taught about he had us go out and take charcoal and large sheets of newsprint and go out and sketch houses around the campus and teach us. He taught us about composition more than anything. So that's sort of like a way of thinking. So you go out on a day like today, beautiful sunny day, you'd find something that interested you, you sat down and you did a drawing and then brought it back to the classroom. And a teacher would either rip you to shreds, which didn't happen to me much, but did happen occasionally, or they'd say, great work. So,
So the first time you met me and I showed you a book I wanted to write, did you think I like didn't know anything? Did you think like, uh-oh, I'm dealing with a guy who doesn't know anything?
well,
Because I would say that,
you didn't go to art school. You know, you and I were both starting out with families and stuff. I can remember a time when we had no money and we went, your brother had that business and we went and guarded a tugboat that had sunk and they had brought it back up and had an oil boom around it. So the ocean wouldn't get polluted.
geez, I forgot we did that. We were being paid to watch, make sure nothing happened in the
Yeah,
course of the night on some
like
oil spill. You're right.
great money. And it was
Yeah,
hard staying up all night.
yeah.
But we did.
Somehow
And
we
we
did
went
it.
to have
Hey,
breakfast and
kids out there. Hey, teachers, kids. Rob did the U.S. Navy alphabet book. Rob illustrated that, designed it, and did a great job. Some of them are photos. And he also did the U.S. Army, alphabet book. And then for those of you who might not know this, Rob did the Hershey fraction book, which sold 1 million copies. One of the coolest books about math that teachers tell me it was just great. So there's the Hershey fraction book. And Rob had a great idea of how he painted the kids in the book. You can see them right there. I love how he did it, the angle that he did it at, something I never would have thought of. It's sort of, what would you call that? A 45-degree angle from above, how you
I would call
painted that?
it a bird's eye view.
A
Right?
bird's eye view. And before we weren't allowed to use candy anymore, he also did the Reese's Pieces count by fives, count by tens. And I bet you can't believe I found these books around the house. And then look, there, Hershey Kisses edition book, another book that sold about 1 million copies. That's like back in the 90s, we did that. Oh yeah, I didn't have the other math books. So Rob and I did about 20 math books. So between like going lobstering, yep, there's Count to a Million, which is a place value base 10 book, and that's still in print. And
See what I'm saying.
100 Ways to Count to 100. Do you have that one? Yeah, 100 Ways to Get to 100. Of course, there isn't 100 ways to get to 100. There's a billion ways to get to 100. There's no
We had to do
limit.
that book we had to do that book in 1 month.
Is that right? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
But you remember that. So that's who he is. We'll get to the Who Would Win books in a couple of minutes. But hey, Rob, I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
I recall, and I could be wrong, that when I first met you, were you working at Polaroid?
No.
No?
No, I did some freelance work for Polaroid right out when we lived in Norwood.
That's what I remember. So you were doing advertising work. You can talk about yourself. And you did really beautiful stuff. As I recall, like if they wanted a camera, what a camera looked like, you would draw the camera or you would draw the film or something.
It was technical drawings that I did when I started out. It was a way to make money while I broke into the advertising industry in Boston and Providence. And that was a pretty difficult, it was pretty difficult to break in. And advertising illustration is pretty tough because they'll call you on a Friday and say, we need this illustration by Monday. And so you spent the whole weekend up all night, Saturday and Sunday night, and then you drive it in, dead tired, and you get another job. Because if you didn't succeed, you wouldn't get another job. And so word spread, and I established myself at a number of agencies, including one of the largest, Hill Holiday. And I worked
Now, I
on,
remember that you were the Dunkin' Donuts guy. So when people see Dunkin' Donuts ads, they were really seeing your artwork, but they didn't know who you were. But I knew you. I knew because I was sneaking in to look at my books you were illustrating, and I might see some of the Dunkin' Donuts stuff. But I
Right.
remember Dunkin' Donuts. I remember Ocean Spray cranberry labels. You were doing those, and I remember you did a bunch of unbelievable illustrations for the Museum of Science. Like you'd be driving down the highway and I'd see a snake up on the billboard, and it was your snake. I'd
That
be
was the
driving down the highway.
that was
What?
the
Oh, that was the aquarium. You did those?
but I did do billboards for Museum of Science also, and I actually did some paintings that they used for their butterfly exhibit. And that was 15 years ago. They're still up.
And I can say this, when we were first doing a book, I went to New Orleans to a conference to sign books, and there was a piece of your art on a restaurant in downtown New Orleans. So I
Right.
couldn't believe it. Here I was. That's a long time ago too. You were young at the time. And
That
you
was
had
done
this national, what's that?
It was done by Sonesta Hotels, and
Yeah.
in New Orleans location they have an oyster bar, and so they
Right.
asked me to copy something that Henri Damier had done, a French artist, a lithographer, and it
Yeah.
came out really so well that somebody stole the original from Sonesta Hotels in Boston.
Really?
Never-
By the way, that artwork is on Salem Street in Boston right now. If you want to go see your artwork.
You mean
It
the
is.
clam? I mean the
Yeah.
oyster?
Yeah.
Talk about copyright.
So kids, if you want to see some of Rob's artwork that's not a Who Would Win book, you can just go to the restaurants in the north end of Boston. So that's what I remember about how you started your career. But am I
Correct.
correct that was Going Lobstering the first children's book that you did?
It was, and it was about, it was about the place that you had fond memories of and still have fond memories of, where your parents lived, Situate.
Besides having 4 kids each and having wives that were best friends, one of the things we had in common is that I went to Situate in the summer and you went to Point Judith, Rhode Island, I think.
Yeah, as a kid,
Yeah, you
yes,
went to the ocean also. Yeah.
until I was, I think 13 or 14, and then I
Yeah. Yeah.
came home for the summer and washed dishes at Howard Johnson's, and then I became a cook at Howard Johnson's through college.
Here's someone asked this. Does Rob have a favorite series he's done with you? Well, he did the military series. He did the Hershey series, and he also did the Who Would Win series.
It's the Who
So
Would Win.
he could answer that himself.
Who would win? It's just like head and shoulders above everything else. As a matter of fact, going back to
Which
advertising,
series, though, which series did you say to yourself, I'm going to kill that Jerry Pallotta? If he comes over to my office once more. Which series was that?
I don't know.
Someone asked, are you still able to sell the candy books? No, we're not allowed to print them anymore because of obesity lawsuits. How many other books have you illustrated for Scholastic? Well, he illustrated 25 Who Would Win books, and he illustrated
24.
20, at least 12 candy books, Hershey, Reese's, at least 12 of those. I think there was some board books too, so say 16, 24, how much is that, 40? Maybe I can't add that wrong. 40
50-something
books,
We're well over.
at least 40 books. Someone asked, how are illustrators paid? I pay them by the page. And if the books sell really, really well, he keeps getting paid for as long as he lives. Do you get royalties or paid for each project? Yes, he does. He gets royalties as every book sells, he gets money. And
That's
okay, what else did I want to?
the way
Go
the
ahead.
industry works. It's supposed to.
Yeah. Now I got to ask you something else. Did you ever do little spot illustrations for other books for other publishers?
I did one thing. It was work for hire, which was for Houghton Mifflin. It was called a short story for kids, teenagers. It was called Out There. But it's been Charlesbridge. It's been we did do some Cheerios stuff a long time ago.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Cheerios book. You're right. I forgot about that.
That's when we first started getting into computers, and that was probably around 1996, maybe.
Yeah.
96.
Okay. Well, go ahead. Talk about yourself for a while. Talk about the Who Would Win books.
Well, the Who Would Win books, I think one of the reasons they're successful is because Jerry and I do work together, and there is the seamless part of it is that I design the pages and the illustrations. So let's say there's a disconnect between the illustrator and maybe the art director or the designer in New York or wherever the publication is. The artwork might be too big or too small or the wrong shape, depending on what text and what other items are on the page. And so the great thing about the Who Would Win book is the series is that I'm given total control graphically. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
We
have
no
total
problems at all.
We have total control. Yeah.
There's never any disasters. So, and by the way, we've done 24, not 25 Who Would Wins so far.
Yeah, 24 are done.
The 24th is the Ultimate Shark Rumble, which still, because of the shutdown, has not, been handed over to Scholastic yet, but it's all ready to go.
Yeah, it's all done. You did a great job. It's a beautiful book.
Back in 2008, I started 2007 rather, I started an oil painting career because I had done oil paintings for the Construction Alphabet book. And I actually missed painting with brushes because most of my time up to that point had been spent on computer. So I'm one of those people that also likes to handle a brush.
But when I first met you, you were sort of pencil and airbrush, would you say?
Yep, because pencil was too slow. In advertising, you had to get the color down quickly. And so what I did was in college, I did a watercolor drawing on rough paper. And then after it had dried, I would go over it with colored pencil to add some more details. That was out when advertising.
So
Hello.
kids, I did find,
Who's that?
look here, we have a surprise guest.
Hi, everybody.
A surprise guest. He's escaped
Hi.
from quarantine. Hey, Rob, here's Judy Newman, head of the Scholastic Book Clubs, our favorite place on earth. By the
Right.
way, Judy, thank you for selling millions of our books.
Of course.
Rob and I's goal is to sell at least 1 million of every title. I think we're doing a good job. You're doing a great job selling them. So thank you.
Rob, it's taken a quarantine and a Zoom and Jerry to bring us together this way. Finally, we've been trying to see you forever, and it's so amazing. I, of course, get stories about you all the time, and the books are incredible. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. The art, the passion you bring to it, it's just amazing. And the kids are so inspired and so excited. So for everybody watching, I'm Judy Newman. I'm in charge of Scholastic Book Clubs. I'm the reader-in-chief. And I have the distinct pleasure of marketing, selling, watching them be created, Jerry and Rob's books, the Who Would Win series, which is just unbelievable. So we're so grateful. We hear from kids all the time. We've been on all kinds of Zoom calls and virtual classrooms, and all the teachers are like, these are my favorite books. And all the kids are like, these are my favorite books. So we owe you a debt of gratitude, and we're thrilled. So.
And I feel the same way about Scholastic and Jerry. It's a great marriage.
Yeah.
It means a lot coming from you.
Well, it means a lot coming from you, and really we have to all deal with Jerry, which has its own unique set of challenges, but it's he's amazing, and the partnership is fantastic.
I had a question for you, Judy. When the books are in progress. Do you ever get progress reports from Roy, or do you just see the finished product?
Part of my challenge is that people like to keep the details away from me, and people love to show the finished product, so I hear kind of what's going on, but Roy, they love to present it like this is done and this is our gorgeous. So I see the covers in progress, and I know what the
I
pace.
do. Look, Rob, if you do something really amazing, I would send it to her and I'd say, hey, you got to see this. I would say, like, we got to take Rob to dinner. Look at this shark he did. Look at this, whatever.
That's
In fact,
true.
Is what you're saying that I've never done anything amazing?
Not, he's your biggest advocate. You have to understand. He's always saying how great it is and telling the kids. So we're inspired. But Roy, not so much. Roy's not that much of an effusive guy, but Jerry's out there. But we're excited. We're excited for a whole new, we got to get the kids back to school so they can start reading and enjoying these amazing books.
Hopefully that will happen soon.
Yeah.
Well, September.
Yeah, we're excited. The kids, we were in a virtual class visit today and they were talking about who would win, but they definitely want to get back to class. So anyway.
One of the crazy things about
I want to get back to school. What's that?
One of the crazy things about this book series is I can be in a conversation with, say, a doctor or a nurse or just someone that I meet, and somehow the subject comes up and they said, "Oh, my son has that," or "My nephew has those books." A story, I was at a doctor's office and someone came in, I started talking to him, and he said, "You did that?" He said, "I just visited my sister for Thanksgiving and she asked me to read, I think it was Snake versus Bird or something."
Right.
So it's like you can't swing a dead cat without hitting someone that owns a who would win.
Yeah, that's an interesting expression. Yes.
I've never heard that one.
No, I haven't. No, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it and I'm going to credit you from now on. No, all kidding. I mean, all kidding aside, these books are life-changing, and the words, the pictures, the concepts, it's just amazing what they've done, really, make kids into readers, and they're just brilliant. So we're so grateful. And I love that picture in the background. It's beautiful, tranquil. Is that your
Yeah,
page?
Rob, that would look really good in Judy's office, Rob.
Well, I see Jerry's crazy head and in the background, and someone said, "Do you think it's going to scare the kids?" I said no, but then I see Rob's beautiful. That's a beautiful paint. Is it a painting?
It is. It's in progress. It's not finished.
Oh,
So
it's
Yes, that's an oil painting. Can you believe he could paint like that?
beautiful.
Like when I see the reflection in the water, like who could paint like that? Look at that.
One of the things that I find is that the fine art that I do, the paintings, and they basically feed off, the book work that I do too. It's helpful to have both, maintain a balance.
So interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, I promised I wouldn't derail your conversation. I'm so excited to see you guys, and it's inspiring.
Hey, we can't thank you enough. Thank you, Scholastic Book Clubs. Someone from Texas says, how many Who Would Win books have you sold? I don't know, about 15 million, I guess.
Yeah,
Something
15
like
million and climbing.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So thank you.
now I can say
Rob
it.
and I.
Roy told me that Scholastic really doesn't like to talk about numbers.
Nobody ever likes to talk about numbers. I just hung up on a numbers call and I'm like, okay, goodbye, you figure it out. And I left.
Well,
yeah, because but there's millions and millions of copies. I mean, you see it, it's really inspiring. So thank you
Awesome.
guys.
See ya.
thank you, Judy. Thanks for coming.
Stay safe, everybody. Thanks for reading.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey,
Yeah.
back. So what would you like me to do? Would you like me to do a little drawing for the kids, teach them a perspective lesson, or I can also do a real drawing?
Go ahead.
Or would you like to talk?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
All right, so
Why don't you show them one of your paintings? Can you show them? Do you have the original Constitution painting?
That's upstairs. I can go get it and
Yeah.
come back, but then there'll be dead time. So I don't know. I have this painting which that I'm working on, and
Yeah.
let me grab another one. And I'm
What's
probably
that?
gonna do a drawing right there for you.
Kids, that's Rob's studio right there. When I go visit Rob, this is his studio. And he's always painting. You know, when I go in there, it always smells like paint. Oh, there's an oil painting he's working on.
Okay.
So besides doing my books, he does oil paints.
And this is, you have to understand about it, this is one of those squares paintings. Can you see it?
Yeah. Kids, if
Yeah.
you look closely, you'll see that it's little squares.
Right. There's like 8 squares up and 8 squares across. And so that's what 64 squares, right? And I do 1 square at a time. Maybe you could see the lines right here.
Yeah. Now, is that an anchor, that red thing in front?
That's a mushroom anchor.
A mushroom anchor, yep. And there's a buoy.
Yes. And so, yeah, so that's one of the things, one of the paintings that I'm working on. This is also not quite done yet.
Is that a real painting?
Yes.
No, what I mean is that a real place?
Yes, it is. It's Brewster, Massachusetts.
Oh, Brewster, Mass. Cool.
And what happens is the tide goes way out and exposes, you know, buoys that sit on the sand and so forth. But anyway, you know what I'd like to do? Quick, what time is it here? We're already been on for a half an hour.
Yep.
So
Go ahead. We'll go another 20 minutes if you want.
sure, I'll share this screen, all right? And let me see.
Yep.
I have to hit. It select window of screen, entire screen. Okay. Allow. So can you see
There's my face.
so you can see my screen now. So what I'm
That's
going
my
to do,
face. Am I on your screen?
yeah. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say File, New. I'm going to do a drawing of an eyeball. Really easy using circle. So it's 10 by 10, right?
Yeah.
Over here, 10 inches by 10 inches. And I'm only using 72 pixels per inch. F key. And zoom in.
So you're going
All
to
right,
draw using the computer. Is that correct?
correct. And I'm just using a mouse here. I'm not using you know, anything special like the pen yet. I can do that also. To draw with a computer, you should have a tablet and a pen that works on the tablet so it feels like a pencil or a brush. So over here are my layers, and these are sort of like imaginary layers. So that's a white sheet of paper, but now I have a transparent layer. There's nothing on it. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to grab my marquee tool. And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag outward. And I'm going to, we call these marching ants. You know what?
Yeah.
Those are too big. That eyeball's too big, so I'm going to do it again. All right, and I'm going to go over here, and this is my color picker, and I'm going to choose a gray. And so
gray?
I have
Okay.
a gray and a white, and now I'm going to get my gradient tool. And what a gradient tool does is it mixes the colors equally from gray to white, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. Oh, I went too far. Oh. Hold on.
Yep.
Sorry. No, I made a mistake. I went too far. And I hear there. Okay. So anyway, this is the beginnings of the eyeball. So the light's coming from the top. And so
I see what you mean by gradient. The bottom's darker and the top's lighter.
Right. And so what I'm going to do is make another layer. And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag outward again. And I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to fill this. And I'm going to fill it with a color. Let me get a color right here. And let me get a nice blue. I'm going to take the yellow out of it. So this is when we print a book, they use 4 colors: cyan, magenta, yellow, and K stands for black. And so when you work on a computer, you can see what the values are of each particular color. I'm going to take the yellow out, and I'm going to say okay. So
So
there's my
Rob,
blue.
if you did 110%, would that mean you couldn't print that color?
It only goes to 100. Yes,
Oh, okay.
it only goes to 100. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my marching ants, which just shifted, and I'm going to make another layer. And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out like this. And I'm going to say, I'm going to fill it with black. With my black right there. And this right here, I'm going to make a black line around the outside of this. So what I'm going to do is select the blue. There it is. And I'm going to say edit. And I'm going to put a brush stroke using black in the center. And I'm going to do 2 pixels. It's pretty low resolution. And I'm going to turn it off. Now I'm going to turn off the marching ants. I'm going to grab this. Made a mistake. Made a mistake again. This is how I'm going to copy it. So I have 2 eyeballs. And I'm going to say, I'm going to transform that and I'm going to make a black dot. But now what I'm going to do is fill it with white. So I'm going to lock it and I'm going to say edit, fill, and I'm going to fill it with white. I'm going to say okay. Can you see the eyeball starting to develop? So now what I'm going to lock this blue, and because the light is coming from the top right, this area down here should be lighter. So I'm going to get my paintbrush and I'm going to make a lighter blue. So I'm going to do something like this, maybe like that. And then I'm going to get a big brush. I didn't protect the blue. And then up here, I'll make it darker, like this. Okay, now let's put a color background in. Can you hear me, Jerry?
Yeah, yeah, it looks good.
All right, so I'm gonna put a red, and then why don't I get, oh, we just made a mistake. That's the thing about a computer. You can make a mistake and you can undo your mistake. Red. And then I'm going to get a yellow. How did I do this? 100% yellow. So over here, something weird's going on. Here's the red. For some reason, it's not working. I wonder if my computer is on the fritz. Anyway, so see how over here, the color picker is not working. So why don't I just grab some color? Say cancel.
Maybe
Really
just
weird.
try it again. I don't know.
No, it's not working. Oh, wait, something's going on here. That's what it is.
Is it a different layer?
I just saw that red. It is a new layer, but it shouldn't have that. Somehow there was, oh, that's what it is. It's turned on. So anyway, it's basically a masking tool, and that's why it
Oh, I
turned
see.
red.
It was masked.
So what happens is, and I'll tell kids, when you're working on a computer, I make mistakes on a continual basis. And as you're working on the computer, you have to figure out what happened. It's just the way my mind works. So anyway, I'm going to click and I'm going to get the gradient tool again. And I'm just going to check my gradient. I think it's, yep, it's going to go from yellow to red. I'm going to put it like that. Now I'm going to say edit, transform, and I'm going to flip it vertically. So I'm going to put the red at the top. And now it's going to look like I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to turn off my marching ants. And see this right here? I'm going to simply make 2 of these. And I'm going to lock it. It's going to look like I made a mistake. I'm going to say edit fill. And I'm going to fill it with black like that. Say okay. See, it looks like I made a mistake. Now this is the great thing about Photoshop. And when you work in layers, look, I'm just going to click and drag. And I'm going to pull it down. It disappears. So you have a white and a black. And so now I'm going to transform it like this. And I'm going to create a shadow underneath the eyeball, like that. The light's coming from here. So if it was coming from right here, then the
Yeah.
shadow would be underneath. So it's coming from here. So I'm going to go and unlock that and say, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm going to blur it a little bit because
I
the
see.
farther an object gets away from the shadow, the blurrier it becomes. And I'm just going to lighten it up a little bit and hit multiply. There. So that's how you draw an eyeball. And all an eyeball is this eyeball is just a bunch of shapes with circles.
Now it looks like the solar system.
Yeah. So I'm not going to save this. I'm going to do one more. File, new. I'm going to teach kids like a thing that I used to do back when I was in 5th, 6th grade is a drawing of a house using perspective, 2-point perspective. That's the wrong way.
By the
So,
way, Rob, you really did draw an eyeball. There it is right there.
yeah.
You really did draw an eyeball
That's-
in the
that's
squid book.
squid, yeah.
The
By the
squid
way,
eyeball, yeah.
Asian hornets are in the news.
Yeah.
They're in our country now, and they're destroying honeybees. It's just hitting the news now.
Yeah.
How to get them out of there. So we did a book, who would win, hornet versus wasp, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, let me get on to this drawing lesson really quickly. So I'm just going to get black and white. Now, the way we see things is that's the horizon line. That's where the sky meets the earth. What you do is this is called 2-point perspective. You put a little dot either side, and let's say you want to draw a house. So there's the side of the house right there. This might sound crazy, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to connect these lines to those points. And now maybe you can see, oops, made a mistake. Let's see how the house starts to come together. Can you see it? Now watch this. To find the middle of that square, I'm going to make an X from corner to corner. And then I'm going to go up like this. Now, if I want to find, I can make it a high-pitched roof or a low-pitched roof. So then I connect that line. So that's the roof line, but where is the middle of this back area? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down and make it really sort of light. And actually, I'm going to get the mouse. I'm going to go like this. So I'm going to go from this point over to here. And then I'm going to go from this point over to here. And now that's the back corner of the house right there. So now where's the upper?
Oh, I see. That's the back, way back. I get it.
It's like what's inside the house, right?
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
to finish this off, let me see, I have to go from this corner. I can't see my mouse. There it is. Down to that corner. So there, I can find the X on this side. I can come up here, and that's the point of the other roof right there. So you get it? I hope the kids get it. That's how you make a simple house. And you can put a door in the middle. Let me erase some of this stuff. And I'm just going to put the 2 layers together and then erase. So what you do is you do this in pencil, and then afterwards you can fill it in with watercolor or marker or whatever you want. If you want to put a front door that's centered, you can go like this and find the center of this. Okay, so that's the center of the house. So if you want to do a door, You go like this, and then boom, down like that. If you want to put clapboards on the side of the house, you just go like this. So this is how you measure how the human eye sees things. Then from here to here, you can add windows and chimneys and so forth and so on. So what do you think about that? All right, so I'm just
Really
going to
neat.
get out of this. So that's how you start with a basic drawing. And by the way, remember, this is where the sky meets the earth, right here. So I hope that's a good lesson. So I'm going to just quit out of this. Quit out of that. And so would you like me to do a drawing down here now?
Sure.
All
Sure,
right.
do it.
Can you see this okay?
Yes.
Maybe get it closer. And you know what? My chalks took a wicked tumble earlier. Let me turn on this light. Let's see. I have a glove here.
Oh, yeah?
All right, we're gonna do a drawing of, and my chalks are a mess here. Just give me 1 second. Okay.
Well, this is Rob's studio.
So anyway, let's do a drawing, and I do this drawing for kids in, when I used to visit schools. But, so we take an oval, because we do shapes. We use shapes, artists use shapes, and I'm just doing some rough lines, like that. And that's the beginning of a ladybug. And so if you want the ladybug to be shiny, which it is, basically.
Rob, can you pull the whole thing over to your left? Pull it to your left just a little. Good.
Can you see
Good.
that now?
Yeah.
All right. So if you, a ladybug has a shiny shell, so we're gonna go like that. And now we're gonna start coloring her in. And you can make a ladybug on any color you want. So I'm gonna start with this blue. And the ladybug basically has yellow eyes, but I just do my real simple eyes like this. And then she has a black head. You don't want to go through your highlight.
The reflection.
Yeah, it's called a highlight or a reflection.
And you're using chalk.
Chalk. Then I'm going to make a line like that. It's really doing this really fast, but we can make this darker on one side. Light's here, so it's going this way. This side has to be a little bit darker. Yeah. Let's see. Let's put some color in the background. How about? Whoop, magenta. Been a while since I did this.
It looks good.
What do we need here, though? We need some spots.
I think it needs legs.
What's that?
Does it get legs?
Gets legs and antennas, too. All right. So let's put a spot right here. Can be black. Whatever color you want. It's your ladybug. All right, so it has little legs. I'm not going to do detailed legs. They come out like that. and a middle leg. Might come down like that.
Hey, Rob, some first grader will come up to me and say, that ladybug is 4 years old. But we know that's not true. They only live for 2 weeks.
Is that
So-
because it has 4 spots?
Yeah, that's what kids tell me. It has 4 spots, it's 4 years old.
Put some more color here. And put a shadow in. Lights here, so the shadow is going to be over here. I'm still missing a couple of legs. Now this can also be done on the computer.
Yeah.
And let's see. And then we can go like this to blend it in. Here's my white chalk. Let's see. Just before.
Good job.
There. It's sort of a
Beautiful.
challenge, but the chalk is so messy.
I think you should sign it. We'll give it to some teacher.
There. That's my abstract art. So anyway,
Beautiful.
look at that. That's why you wear a glove. So anyway,
Hey, we're
Let's-
almost done. I just want to do one thing, Rob.
sure.
Kids, I just love these first pages Rob did. Look at that. There's a jaguar and a skunk. I have to brag about you, Rob, how good you are, you know? Look at this,
Well, you
an
have to come up
alligator,
How do you show smell? How do you show smell? Yellow.
alligator, alligator and a python. Oh, how did he show the stinky skunk? Yeah, look. Kids, look at the yellow behind the skunk there. You know, Rob, that I asked Roy, our editor, if I could put a scratch and sniff in the book, scratch and smell the skunk.
Right.
And they
Too
wouldn't let
expensive.
me do it. I don't know. Look at this. Hippo rhino, just a
It would smell up
beautiful
somebody's house.
goodness. Huh?
It would smell
Yeah,
up somebody's house.
I guess you're right. Hornet
But-
wasp. Here's that ugly hornet that's been bothering the honeybees in America.
They're
And,
calling. I think they're calling
what's
it.
that?
Never mind.
A killer hornet or something. Look at that. Wolverine. I just love these. These are beautiful. I'm
high
bragging on you, man.
In
Huh?
high school, it was a Westwood Wolverine.
Oh, is that right? Look at this. By the way, my granddaughter said the purple one would win because purple was her favorite color. So how do you like that? Couple of dinosaurs. Here's one of my favorites, kids. Look at this. He's got the secretary bird with its wings out fighting the rattlesnake. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. Am I embarrassing you?
No,
Huh?
no. What happens
Oh,
is,
lobster versus crab. Lobster versus crab. Great
I-
stuff.
and I don't.
What's that?
I say I do the books, and I'm so close with them, I really don't pick them up again. But when I do pick them up, which is
Yeah,
very,
you say, I hope you forget all your hard work.
that's
And
kind of
then
what
look, there's a giant squid with a sperm whale and tarantula scorpion. I love this guy. Look at that. Look at this scorpion. He's like my favorite. I love that guy, you know? And Komodo dragon. Kids love Komodo dragons. They drool dangerous bacteria. Look at that. You captured that. There's the,
one of
the
the great
snake.
things about this series, Jerry, is that
Yeah.
there's so many facts, interesting things that people never knew. And when they read these books, they find out about this, that, or the other thing.
Yeah,
What
yeah, you're
sharks
right.
owns.
Yeah, look at that, hammerhead versus bull shark. And of course, when I was doing them, I learned a lot, you know. T-Rex versus Velociraptor. But a kid told me it's a Velociraptor. A kid told me I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a Velociraptor.
Right.
I like that. Polar bear, grizzly bear. Here's a great one. These are just beautiful, these drawings. Look at this. Hey kids, look at this one. Lion versus tiger.
That
you
was
know?
our third book, right?
Yeah. Here's the very first book we did. It's just great. Look at that. Killer whale versus great white shark. Great. And green ants versus army ants. I forget what that drawing is like, but there you go. Beautiful. Green ants versus army ants. So great job. Oh, and you know our new book, our newest book, Falcon versus Hawk. Rob, the book's incredible. When it came out, I was like, whoa. Hey kids, look at this drawing. Can you believe that? I hope some of you kids out there become great illustrators like Rob Bolster. Look at that. What an illustration.
You want me
And
to
of course,
share?
I love the honey badger because he looks like he has frosting on his head. There's the honey badger against the hyena. And I guess that's it. That's all I'm going to show. Hey, Rob, thank you for coming on. I know it took an effort. We're all busy and we're all stuck in our homes and we don't know how to deal with it. Oh yeah, somebody has a question right here. Hold on. They always say that I miss all the questions. It says, does Rob like the Harvard Natural History Museum as much as you do? That's what they asked me. Do you like going there, the Harvard Museum of Natural History?
I don't think I've.
You
I
don't
could
think
be
you go
wrong.
there? Yeah.
I have
Says,
less.
does he do? It says, does Rob do research as well? Yes, he does tons of research. He
Oh.
does, because he tries to get the books are nonfiction, so he tries to get them as accurate as possible. By the way, we noticed that people in Canada were joining us. So Rob, thank you very much. We went almost a whole hour. We could go another whole hour probably. And thank you to everyone today. Thank you to Judy Newman, Scholastic Book Clubs. By the
Yeah.
way, you can get Rob and I's books at scholastic.com/book clubs. So we have to thank Scholastic for coming on.
You want to do?
Um,
You want to
that's
do
it.
the reveal? The
What's
cover
the
reveal.
reveal? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, Rob has something special to show you kids. So here we go.
Do it. Is it okay? Do you think it'd be
Yeah,
okay
it's
with
okay.
you
I
and
might have
Roy?
already done it, but go ahead.
You what? You're out of
I
time?
might have already done it. Go ahead, show them.
All right. Let me see.
Hey
So I have
kids, Rob has something special to show you. Teachers, Rob has something special to show you. And after he shows it to you, the show is over. We thank you for coming on. And here it comes. I don't know where it is, but there you go.
There it is. So that's the whole front and back. You can see all 24 titles right there. And this is the latest one right here, which should be printed for September, right?
It'll be available, I believe, in the Scholastic Book Clubs August 1st. That's not too far from now. A couple months.
That's
So the
correct.
book's done. It's in the Scholastic Book Clubs August 1st. Thank you, everybody. By the way, thank you to our secret weapons, Mary Alice and Jamie. Thank you to Rob for coming on. Great effort. We love your ladybug. I'll find a good teacher to give that to. I think there's a really cool teacher named Allie who lives in trying to think of the name of the town. Dover. She might like that thing.
To
Great.
me,
Bye,
this is
everybody.
See ya.